August weather has arrived on this Saturday afternoon. The wind is blowing out. Nice sunshine splash day, and the Cubs look to make it 2 out of 3 to start this 4-game homestand. It's the Cubs hosting the San Diego Padres here on NBC Sports Chicago. And welcome to Cubs baseball. Jim DeShays and Len Casper with you. The Padres took the opener on Thursday night. The Cubs came back and were able to hold off what has been a pretty pesky Padres group in Game 2.
Yeah, a little drama at the end, a lot of drama as a matter of fact at the end, but the Cubs finally able to finish off that ball game as Pedro Strop picked up the save in support of a Jose Quintana, who picked up his 10th win of the year.
Let's get to the highlights. Javier Baez had an MVP-type performance, offense, defense, base running. Let's start with the offense. His 23rd home run of the season that ties his career high, gave the Cubs a 1-0 lead, and Quintana with a nice quality outing.
Yeah, fastball command was outstanding. Started to mix the curveball in later in the game, so he was able to get ahead with that 0-0 curveball. Did not walk a man, struck out 6. Just a real crisp performance from him, coming off a really rough one last time out.
Cubs were able to add some insurance late. Anthony Rizzo tucking one just inside the foul pole in right to tie Alfonso Soriano on the Cubs' all-time home run list for 11th, but then the Padres able to come back. 8th inning bat throw by Steve Cishek. Cubs gave up a run, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and that's why it was so important to get 6 out of Quintana, because Joe was able to mix and match with his bullpen the rest of the way. Just an outstanding intuitive play here by Baez on that ground ball. They were conceding the run, but Baez doesn't concede anything, and then he triples into the right field corner to get the bottom half of the inning started.
There's the base running as he eludes the tag by Corey Spangenberg. This would be a key insurance run on a sacrifice fly from Ian Happ. Cubs needed all the runs they could get as the Padres threatened in the ninth.
Yeah, Ian Happ got twisted around a little bit on this ball off the bat of Corey Spangenberg. Went for extra bases. Freddie Galvis scores. Padres are in business. And that's what I was talking about with the drama. There was a lot of dicey things going on late in the game. But how about this play by David Bodie? So quick. Play that he had worked on earlier in the day, and it paid off big time.
So Strop striking out pinch hitter Austin Hedges, and the Cubs hang on for a 1-run victory. Here's the line on Quintana. No walks. He was aggressive, which you like to see.
A lot of first pitch strikes with the fastball, and as I mentioned, then he started to mix in that curveball on 0-0. Everything was either on the edge or down around the knees. Very few mistakes over the middle of the plate.
So the Cubs were able to hold serve. Later in the evening in Milwaukee, Junior Guerra hanging one to Trevor Story, a game-tying home run in the 5th. Rockies and Brewers tied at 1. Then Carlos Gonzalez, wasn't a bad pitch, on a splitter. Takes it out for a 2-run shot. It's 3-1 at that point. Christian Yelich now putting together an MVP-type season. His home run makes it 3-2, and then 2 outs in the 9th. Wade Davis gives up the home run to Eric Thames, and the Brewers win in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, Wade Davis, our old buddy, is having a tough go, but he's lost 5 games already this year. The stuff just not quite as sharp. Brewers have got that magic feeling in their home ballpark. They're very good up there at Miller Park. So both the teams at the top of the division win, and status quo remains. Cubs lead by a game.
I guess a bit ironically, Jonathan Scope now 0 for 12 with 8 strikeouts as he starts his Brewers career, and Cubs hosting, or the Brewers rather, hosting the Rockies a little bit later. Let's get into today's starting pitching matchup. For the Padres, it will be an unfamiliar name. Walker Lockett is in because left-hander Joey Lucchesi has a stomach ailment. Kyle Hendricks coming off maybe his best of the year.
Yeah, it's a very favorable pitching matchup for the Cubs. So much so that it makes you a little bit nervous. Walker Lockett making his 2nd major league start. Probably didn't find out he was pitching today until last night, maybe even this morning when he got to the ballpark. And even when you look at his AAA numbers, they're not very inspiring either. So he's up against the professor, who was outstanding. He got dinged up for 2 runs, a home run in the 1st inning, but after that he was dialed in, retired the final 17 batters he faced.
One follow-up on yesterday, the Cubs have done all the little things well. We know they catch the ball, they run the bases well. The Padres, in terms of the little details, maybe a couple of moments where if they had been Cub-like, they might have won that game.
Yeah, a couple of bad decisions on the bases. And how about the challenge early in the game from Andy Green on a potential hit by pitch of Christian Villanueva? They challenged the call. It went against him. He lost his challenge, and there was a couple plays later in that game where I guarantee he wishes he had that challenge in his back pocket.
When we come back, we'll hear from the manager, Joe Madden, as we get you set for Game 3. The Cubs hosting the Padres. Coming up.
Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Ford, who invites you to go further in their fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out our entire lineup at your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Menards, save big money at Menards. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Time now for a Grande Blonde Roast with Joe Madden.
Even in spring training, I know David Ross was around him a little bit, and Rossi came up to me and validated Bodie. He just like conversationally hanging out with him a little bit. He just walked in the office one day and wanted me to know how highly he thought of David Bodie. And that doesn't happen all the time. So obviously, conversationally among the group, David Bodie revealed to David Ross that he kind of had what it takes to be a part of this group. And again, Bodie is so he's definitely his own man, no question about it. You can converse with him; he's going to come back at you with a well thought out response. He's definitely not wide-eyed, and I don't think peer pressure really matters in a bad way. He's not going to conform to somebody else's methods just because they came after him strongly, because he is a strong person himself. So I like all that about David.
Good stuff from Joe Madden. And a little later on tonight, left-hander Austin Gomber will oppose Ivan Nova in Pittsburgh. Chris Archer struggled in his Pirate debut. The Pirates did win that game. Dexter Fowler, by the way, going to the disabled list. It'll be Tyler Anderson, a left-hander for the Rockies, against right-handed rookie Freddie Peralta in Milwaukee. They'll start just after 6 o'clock Central Time. It's Game 3 here on a hot day in Chicago. Wind blowing out. We'll send it down to the field now for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The friendly confines, a hot and steamy one here as we get you set with this Miller Lite game report. It was aggressive base running and some great defensive plays that were the key to yesterday's victory over the Padres for the Cubs. Both areas that third base coach Brian Butterfield emphasizes with these guys on a daily basis. And he's one of those unsung heroes behind the scenes, putting in the work. And in his short time here, he's already put quite an imprint on what will be the identity for this 2018 Cubs team. And here's what he has to say that's impressed him the most about the club so far.
Honestly, I didn't think that they would be as caring for each other. I didn't think that I was very impressed with them, but I didn't know that they would be this together, have one another's back, be this respectful to the coaches, to the manager, to their own teammates. Beyond the playing part of it, we've got a great group of high character guys, and it's a credit to our organization the way we draft people, not just baseball players, and these guys are special people that you feel like you can go a long way with.
I think when fans watch this team, one of the things that I know excites them is what we've seen from a base running perspective and being very aggressive. And I know that that is part of your mantra, that's part of your MO, getting in, getting your hands on guys and influencing that part of the game. Do you feel like you've made an impact as you watch these guys this year?
Well, I think Will and I and Hyder, we all hope so. You know, you hope to impact a team favorably. As a third base coach, there's a lot of times, I tell my wife this all the time, I don't want to be part of us not being successful. So if I make a bad decision, that stays with me a long time. But we hope that the way we try to push things and the things that we speak about on a daily basis, every advance meeting, putting the pressure on, thinking two bases at a time, looking to move up 90 feet. After a while, we hope that it becomes a contagious thing where guys really buy in and they're confident in what they do, and even when they make outs trying to push it, there's always a means to the end.
We've seen the Cubs buy in. They have so much respect for that man right there. And on the way is Game 3 between the Cubs and the Padres. It'll be Kyle Hendricks going this afternoon here on NBC Sports Chicago.
Padres and Cubs Game 3. San Diego a 6-1 winner on Thursday evening. The Cubs Return the favor 5-4 on Friday. Cubs have the best record in the National League, 63-46. Padres have lost 8 of 9, worst record in the league, 43-69. Wind is blowing hard, straight out toward the center field scoreboard. Want to keep the ball on the ground and miss some bats today. Kyle Hendricks will face this Padres Southwest starting lineup. Will Myers down for the rest of the series. He is now on the disabled list with a bone bruise in his left foot. Travis Jankowski leads off in left. Manuel Margot had 3 hits on Thursday, hitless yesterday. He bats second ahead of Eric Hosmer. Hunter Renfroe, Austin Hedges. You see good numbers this year against Cubs pitching. Freddie Galvis continues to start every game. He'll bat 6th and plays short. Villanueva homered yesterday. Spangenberg his first start of the series, and Walker Lockett, the rookie, batting 9th.
Cubs defensively look like this afternoon. Kyle Schwarber's in left. Ian Happ plays center today. Jason Hayward in right. Baez play third this afternoon. Addison Russell and Ben Zobrist are up the middle. Rizzo is your first baseman. Wilson Contreras behind the plate. Starting pitcher brought to you by Lexus. Experience amazing. It's the professor, Kyle Hendricks. He has made 22 starts, 7 up, 9 down, with a 3.97 earned run average. A lifetime against the Padres. He is 4-1 with a 2.62. He's made 7 starts against the Fighting Friars.
Now your umpiring crew. C.B. Buckner, 19-year veteran, born in Jamaica, will call balls and strikes. Hernandez, Livensparger, and the crew chief Colbreth, first, second, and third respectively. Happy Saturday, JD.
Happy Saturday. It's smoking hot. It's good baseball weather. Good day to break a sweat. Have a cold glass of tea and watch the professor do his thing. He sinks the fastball almost all the time, but occasionally will throw a four-seamer. Changeup is his best pitch. He'll throw it to both sides of the plate effectively. You see, for the season, he hasn't used his curveball much, but last time out against St. Louis, he did. He was up around 15% curveball in that start against the Cardinals, and I think that was one of the reasons why he was so effective.
Love that shot from center field. And here we go. Hendricks to Jankowski. And a strike to get us started. 87 on the sinking fastball from Hendricks.
It's always on the edges. You see a lot of head shaking from the hitters. C.B. Buckner, if he calls those borderline strikes, they're going to try to force Kyle over the heart of the plate. They're going to try to get it up a little bit, because when it sinks, they're going to beat it into the ground.
One and two. 93 degrees. And a southwest wind at 6. But, we saw some gusting just before we got started. That one is fouled off. Good movement on that changeup. We want to welcome those viewers watching us on MLB Network today as well. Great to have you with us. Cubs have already clinched the season series. They've won 4 of the first 5. Swing and a miss on the change for the first out. That was a beauty.
Yeah, just a great sequence. Perfectly located fastballs over the outside corner, and a couple real good changeups. And last off-speed pitch catches Jankowski way out in front.
Also a special welcome to all our viewers watching on Skitter TV today.
2 T's or 2 D's?
2 T's.
Yeah.
Strike to Manuel Margot.
Why not put Baby in the corner, but Professor lives on the corner.
That one skittered off the inside corner, and Margot fouled it away.
Pods won game 1 of this series, had a chance to come back in the ball game yesterday. Cubs were able to hold them off. They have not won back-to-back games since the middle of June.
On the ground to the shortstop. That's Addison Russell. With that strikeout to start the game, did you know?
I'm going to go with no before you even ask the question, but continue.
Kyle Hendricks has retired the leadoff hitter in an inning now in 30 consecutive frames. That is the longest active streak by a country mile.
See, I did not know that.
The next guys on the list, Colin McHugh and Cubs reliever Steve Cishek, 15 consecutive leadoff men retired.
He's had first inning issues this year, as in a lot of bad ones. Back-to-back curveballs. This is something we've been talking about all year with Kyle. Obviously, he's had success in the past without throwing many curveballs. I just think the longer you're in the league, the more guys get a sense of what you're trying to do. They see you time and time again. To be able to throw a little extra wrinkle at him, I think will benefit him.
2-1 on Hosmer. He had his 9-game hitting streak end in the game yesterday. Off the end of the bat, not hit hard. Baez with plenty of time. Very strong first inning for Kyle Hendricks. Cubs coming up when we come back. Up, former Padre Anthony Rizzo has 182 career home runs, one with the Padres. Zobrist, Hayward, Baez, 2, 3, 4. Schwarber, Pat, Contreras. Ahead of Kyle Hendricks, the pitcher, batting in the 8th spot, and Addison Russell hitting 9th, playing short.
Padres defensively. Jankowski plays left. Manny Margot's in center. Hunter Renfro's in right. Christian Villanueva's the third baseman. Always ready. Freddie's at short. Spangenberg gets a start at second. Hosmer's won 4 Gold Gloves. He's at first. Austin Hedges does good work behind the plate, and the Alexis starting pitcher. Alexis experience amazing is a rookie, Walker Lockett. Third major league game, second big league start. He's a 4.9 with a 4.92 down at AAA.
Outside ball one. The leadoff man is presented by Binny's Beverage Depot. If Rizzo gets a hit here, Binny's will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. And he bounces back of the bag at first, and that'll go 3-1. So Lockett over there to cover the bag. Good time to tell you he was a power hitting first baseman in high school.
Well, he's a big man, 6'6", 245, and he throws fastball, change, curve, and a cutter. The fastball is usually a four-seamer. He does sink it on occasion, not overpowering. And I would think he's battling some butterflies right now.
The second major league start. First on the road. Zobrist takes a strike. Joey Lucchesi, a left-hander, will pitch tomorrow. He was pushed back a day. He's been dealing with a stomach issue. So Lockett found out yesterday he was going to start today.
Would sink there at 93. You know, I said not overpowering. A report I had on him was 91, 92, but it was 93, 94. It's amazing that you would contemplate somebody throwing 94 miles per hour not being overpowering.
Right. Zobrist did not have a hit yesterday, but he knocked in 2 runs. A sac fly and a fielder's choice. Cubs scoring runs in a very different way this year than in years past. Not relying on the home run like they used to. Swing and a miss for strike 3. That looked like a real nifty changeup.
Yeah, off-speed pitch at 87, and a rare swing and miss in the zone from Zobrist. And it's just smothering fastballs of late. Pretty good when it spins, but the changeup can be a little bit of an issue for Zobrist. Something on the field.
Interesting. Zobrist over there right to Kyle Schwarber, giving him the scouting report, I would imagine. Well, you love to see that, right? The idea of a guy who just faced him.
Well, it just punched out too, you know, and he's, instead of going back and sulking over the strikeout, providing some intel to his teammate. So I was thinking, I'm going to get something out of this plate appearance. Pass on some knowledge to Schwarber.
Hit hard on the ground, and that's a base hit. Jason Hayward with the first hit of the ball game. So Lockett is from Jacksonville, Florida. 4th round pick of the Padres out of high school in 2012. I mentioned that power hitting first baseman in addition to his work on the mound. As a junior in 2011, he hit 18 home runs, but that did not leave the Jacksonville area. A kid named Javier Baez hit 22 that season. Javi was a senior and then obviously drafted by the Cubs. So 2 Jacksonville kids matching up here in the big leagues, and Lockett wins that battle. Almost threw it away. Scoreless after an inning.
are back at Wrigley with this Miller Lite game report and some good news to pass along for Cubs fans regarding Darvish, who threw 55 pitches this morning in a bullpen session. He said he threw every pitch and felt really good afterwards. In fact, the best he has felt, he said, to this point. And he almost said that he had turned a corner, guys, when it came to the treatment he was getting. They focused a little bit more on the back recently instead of the arm, and he says that that has made a big difference with the flow. And so that's a good sign for Darvish, who even had quite a sense of humor with regards to A-Rod's comments last week. We can get into that later.
All right, Kelly, thank you. Underway here in the second. Both starters efficient in the first. Hendricks needed 12 pitches to go 1-2-3. Lockett threw just 10. 2-0 the count on Hunter Renfroe. Make it 3-0. Just missed.
You'd rather not throw him a cookie. He has tremendous power and the wind's blowing out. However, it's just the top half of the second inning and you don't want to start walking people either.
Home runs have been an issue for Kyle this season at times. That's
a little 3-0 Leo from CB.
Take it. 19 homers surrendered, a career high for Hendricks.
Hendricks is, he's still going to make a pitcher's pitch, or try to anyway, on 3-0, shooting for that corner. He missed it, but he got the call. And that's the second run for yesterday in the ball game. Took a 3-1 heater right through the middle of the zone. I think it was yesterday. It might have been the day before, but I remember this exact look. It was right there in the Whoopi Goldberg square. So probably just thinking changeup.
Yeah, nice comeback by Hendricks.
The 3-1 pitch influences the swing on 3-2. And Hendricks squarely in Renfroe's head already. Thought he might get off speed 3-1. All right, I'm going to be ready to hit the heater this time, and it's that perfectly placed changeup.
That will bring up the catcher, Austin Hedges. 3 for 4 with a game-winning 3-run homer on Thursday. Did not start yesterday. Pinch hit in the 9th and struck out against Pedro Strop to end the ball game. Kyle's 1-0. Another boundary. 1-1. Lester and Lucchesi tomorrow. Then the Cubs hit the road for 3 at Kansas City. Austin Powers against the Cubs.
Series in San Diego. Good here the other night.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Beat him on a fastball.
Cub fans, everybody, and the best chance to catch a game during the Washington Nationals series is Sunday night. That would be the 12th. Come out and watch the Home Run Derby rematch at Wrigley Field. There will not actually be a Home Run Derby, but the guys that participated in it will be on the field. Get your tickets now at Cubs.com.
5 batters faced, 3 have struck out against Hendricks. This one lifted down the left field line by Freddie Galvis and out of play.
In years, many years past, going the Wayback Machine in the history of our fine game, you might have had a home run contest before the game between Schwarber and Harper. They used to do a lot of different things, different kinds of exhibitions.
That would be a Bill Vecchian type thing to do.
So outfielders, throwing, see how far they could throw a baseball.
Galvis did a Q&A in The Athletic earlier this week, and a real cool note in there. And Galvis has a chance to join this trio. Since Cal Ripken Jr.'s career, only 3 shortstops have started 162 games in a season. Can you name the 3? A fairly recent vintage.
Brandon Crawford.
No.
Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins, yes. We will see one in the next few days.
Escobar, you did it last year.
Yep, in the air to right, and Miguel Tejada the other. And a little leap and a grab on the warning track by Hayward. We go to the bottom of the second, 0-0. Later in today's game. Big crowd on hand this afternoon as Kyle Schwarber hopes to take the lessons imparted from Ben Zobrist in the first inning against Walker Lockett. Sounds like a character right out of a Clint Eastwood Western.
Walker Bueller with the Dodgers.
Yeah, those are always fun names. Pitcher, first name Walker. As he fires on a 1-1, and it's low and in. 95 that time from Lockett. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Padres playing the percentages. Swing and a miss.
Nice little breaking ball there. Well, if Lockett is a little anxious, no indications of it. It's pretty comfortable out there. Andy Green would be thrilled to get 5 solid innings from him here this afternoon. He wants to take a crack at it.
High drive, right field. Wing will grab that and carry it on out of here. We'll have to follow Schwarber and see if he goes right up to Zobrist. 1-0.
He joins the 20 home run club. Maybe Lockett now a little less comfortable after that swing of the bat from Schwarber.
Ball one on Ian Happ. So Schwarber with number 20. behind the team leader, Baez. The ball hit hard and past a diving Spangenberg for a base hit.
He's trying to throw a two-seamer. Maybe started further in to try to run it back to the inside corner, and it was pretty much in the middle of the zone, up a little bit. Squares it up. Nice long ride.
Lockett making his Wrigley Field debut, learning a lesson the hard way, giving up fly balls on a day like this. That one might have gotten out no matter what. Blistered foul.
Yeah, not an easy assignment. A second major league start. His first one came back on June 1st against the Reds. In that ball game, he went 3 2/3, allowed 4 runs, 4 hits. He walked 5, a couple of strikeouts. He was their minor league pitcher of the year in 2016.
Comes the 0-1, almost hit him, and the throw almost got Happ.
The Hedges is really quick exchange, good arm. The caught stealing numbers for him aren't great, but I'm guessing a lot of that has to do with not getting a whole lot of help from the pitchers. Just in terms of what he brings to the party back there, very good.
No challenge. It was very close at first, but I think the Padres, after losing an early challenge yesterday, are going to be a little more judicious today. Ground ball, and Spangenberg ranging, and the throw is in time. That's a nice play by Spangenberg. He had to run a long way to his glove side.
Yeah, good speed going down the line, and Wilson Contreras. It's a slow little roller. Just rolling along there, and a nice play, off balance throw. And go hard and quickly to get this ball and stay under control. Very nice.
Here's Hendricks. This is not a bunting spot, but the Padres are ready to charge. I'm curious. They have a man in scoring position with 1 out.
Yeah. Now Hosmer's backing off a little bit. And you got word from the dugout.
Two strikes to Kyle. Schwarber led off the inning with a booming home run. Happ followed with a single. Contreras grounded out. Now 0-2 on the pitcher. Hedges with a good knockdown. I mentioned he's quick.
Yeah, he bounces around back there quickly. He's good in terms of catch and throw. He's got power. Of course, the Padres just traded for Francisco Mejia from the Indians, the Brad Hand deal. He's an outstanding hitter, also a catcher. Their farm system is loaded.
Called strike 3.
MLB.TV is now available at a lower price, $59.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus get a free subscription to MLB at Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this special offer. Order now. And we'll throw in a free set of Ginsu knives.
Russell did not start yesterday. Played shortstop late. Went 1 for 1. Batting ninth today. Ground ball. Base hit. Happ around third. He will score. Little drop there by Margot, but that didn't matter. It's 2-0.
Also one of 3 or 4 Cubs that have really been struggling here in the second half of the season. Knock off the bench yesterday. Good start to his day here today. The report we got on Lockett was against right-handed hitters, you're more likely to see balls on the ground. Against lefties, more in the air, and that certainly has proven to be the case here in this inning. He has a pretty good movement action on a 2-seam fastball in on the hands of the righties that'll get ground balls, but went up out a little way where Russell could get a pretty good piece of it.
Missed the corner. Happy 16th wedding anniversary, John and Jennifer Gill. Celebrating here today. Built for Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rizzo's home run yesterday, tying in with Alfonso Soriano for 11th on the Cubs career homer list, 181. And that's his 4th homer in 8 games after a 25-game homerless drought.
Yeah, not uncommon. You see that with a slugger go through a little bit of a funk in the power department. The other numbers were good. He continued to hit for average. He was taking his walks. It's almost like a little muscle memory or something kicks in. Oh yeah. Had 3 hits in the ball game yesterday. He's on pace to hit 24 home runs. .30 or more each of the last 4 years.
So you see the stolen base success probability from StatCast AI. Look at that. 86% he should go.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Sorry, AI. Prove me wrong. Oh, maybe. Lockett is really slow to the plate.
Rizzo in a favorable spot in terms of the count. And he airs it out to center. Margot will watch it fly. 2-run homer. 4-0.
I mentioned earlier, Andy Green would love to get 5 out of Lockett. Right now, he'd love to get 3 or 4 out of him. It's a tough assignment for this young kid against this lineup on a day like today. Straightaway center field, a no-doubter for Big Riz. Maybe, just maybe, 30 is within reach if he continues to swing it like this.
His 17th, our Ford home run replay. Bang that one over the batter's eye. Straightaway center.
Lean back and launch.
That was crushed. Maybe the strikeout of Ben Zobrist is what started all of this.
He was the scout. He was the advance man. He gathered the intel.
He was the Ramones. He was the guy who created the whole thing and didn't get all the credit. He has been 4-0 lead in the second.
Run here, Mr. Zoe.
Another ball hit a ton. And it's off the glove of Margot. Zobrist to second with a double.
We talk a lot about balls getting up in the air here. You know, lofted fly balls that the wind catches and they just continue to carry. This one did not have that kind of trajectory, but it was really scalded by Zobrist. The wind no doubt helping it some. Margot gets caught drifting on this one, sort of, running to the spot, but again, not an easy day to play the outfield. Five hits in the inning.
Aaron Balsley, a longtime Padres pitching coach, with a visit before Hayward bats. Ball one. Lockett came up on June 1st. Made his big league debut against Cincinnati. He was pitching in the spot of Lucchesi on that night. Lucchesi was on the DL at the time. Got sent back to AAA. Came up again July 9th. Pitched once in relief before heading back to the minors, and then returned once again to the big leagues this past Tuesday. That call up in July was interesting. He was on a flight out of El Paso that was delayed, then rerouted to Vegas because of weather. Base hit. Let's see if Zobrist can score. He's going to try. Renfro's got a big arm. Safe. 5-0.
Solid contact. That time the changeup was kind of hung up in the zone for Hayward. Renfro's got one of the best outfield arms in the game. Big high hop. I just had to go get it. Zobrist comes underneath for the 5th run. Andy Green's in a predicament. How long does he let his rookie stay out there to take a beating? Also doesn't want to burn out his bullpen. Another game here tomorrow, a day where conditions could be just like today.
4 consecutive 2-out hits, and it's Baez. And the ground ball to Galvis. Cubs put up a 5 spot in the 2nd inning. A couple of them coming on homers, Schwarber and then Rizzo. It's 5-zip. The ballpark today. 5-0 Cubs. Place was jumping in the second inning. Cubs scoring 5 runs. Christian Villanueva hit his 20th of the season yesterday, and he'll lead off the Padre third. And he takes a strike.
You know, there are some hitters that would probably tell you the best way to deal with Kyle Hendricks is just to sit changeup throughout the at bat. Probably not a bad idea for some. The issue is his changeup is very difficult to recognize. Fastballs are 86, 87 for the most part. Changeup typically comes in there 77, 78. Same arm slot, same release. He has the ability to cut it away from right-handed hitters. This is interesting.
Ironically, right?
Yeah.
He gets hit by a pitch. It was a ball that he was convinced hit him yesterday early in the game. The Padres challenged the call, lost the challenge, and this one clearly hit him on the back of the left hand.
Yeah, we looked at it numerous times. In all likelihood did hit him, but it was very hard to see it on the replay, so they lost the challenge, and that was in the top half of the second inning. And there was a couple plays later on in the ball game where certainly questionable, and had they had a challenge, they would have no doubt, quote unquote, thrown the flag. This one, the no doubter, and Villanueva will take his base. He leads all major league rookies with 20 home runs, 3 better than Gleyber Torres.
Bring up Spangenberg. He certainly made an impact on the game yesterday. A pinch hit late, played third base. He went 2 for 2 with a double, an RBI, and a run over the final 2 innings. He still has not made an impact at this level. He was a high draft pick, 10th overall, 2011, taken right behind Javier Baez and right ahead of George Springer. Ball 1 strike.
Bad idea. Stay protected from that sun today.
Ground ball to first. They'll have to tag Villanueva, and Russell does. That's a 3-6 double play.
And that's the other thing, you know, the big 5-run inning, you have to deal with the ground ball potential from Hendricks.
Liberty Mutual Insurance field coverage.
So you love to be able to start base runners because of the potential double play. Managers sometimes are hesitant to do that when they're down 5.
Lockett looks at a strike. Well, they have a Stock and a Lockett on the pitching staff. Mentioned he could hit in high school. Oh for 1 with a strikeout at the big league level. Called strike 3. Nice shut down third for Hendricks after the Cubs gave him a big lead.
The game presented by Miller Lite is Old Crow. If you aren't heading to Wrigley Field, watch today's NBC Sports broadcast at Old Crow. To see the complete list of the bars of the game presented by Miller Lite, visit NBCSportsChicago.com.
High-speed action is powered by Xfinity. Chris Archer making his Pirate debut. The Pirates won the game. See some of his better work.
Yeah, the highlights look good, but overall it wasn't very good.
4 1/3, 5 runs, 4 earned in that game.
Yeah, walked 4.
He got a no decision.
And got a standing ovation coming off the field at the end of his outing. Pirate fans just in love with the idea of Chris Archer. Just the fact that their team went out and acquired him. It's going to be interesting to watch that play out over time because they gave up a couple of really good pieces.
In that game, Dexter Fowler suffered a slight fracture in his left foot. And his rough season continues. Tommy Pham traded from the Cardinals to the Rays with a broken foot. This play by Villanueva to get Schwarber.
I would score that one as 5 acting as 4-3. And there's the Freaky Friday MLB injuries. Kinsler newly acquired by the Sox, dealing with a hamstring. Buster Posey, it's an ongoing battle.
Yeah, circle that one. That could be lingering. And
Mets starting pitcher injured. Pretty much a constant storyline.
You do wonder, JD, at some point if Posey and Francisco Cervelli are going to go the Joe Mauer route, and you're a first baseman. You're not going to catch anymore.
Yeah, and it's, you know, with Posey, you can certainly justify it because of the offensive value, and Cervelli's having a good year offensively too, but you know, doesn't have the resume that Posey does. The issue the Giants have is they've got Brandon Belt.
He can play a little outfield, but just get to a point where a doctor's going to say, yeah, if you have another one, that.
Well, Buster could probably play a little outfield too, right? He was a shortstop in college. He's a very good athlete. Quality baby, getting the full treatment.
Listening to Pat and Ron.
Either that or maybe an out-of-town game. You know, that baby might be just all over the game. Be listening to some rock and roll. We don't know.
Rage Against the Machine. 3-2.
Rocking out to a little Raffy.
Heading to Lala later. Happ draws the walk. Ian on for the second time.
Tomorrow, catch another Best of Beer Money presented by Coors Light, Chicago's favorite sports trivia show. Watch the most entertaining contestants and go for cash prizes tomorrow at 7 on NBC Sports Chicago. Only the best when it's Best of Beer Money. No mediocrity allowed. Hello in the park.
Here's Contreras. And a man on and 1 out. Cubs lead 5-0 in the third. Happ takes off and Contreras fouls.
Joe's, you know, we talked about the right-handed hitter on the ground, and Contreras hits it on the ground a lot, so he's starting the base runner here, trying to play hit and run. It was an effective weapon for the Cubs yesterday. Did it 2 or 3 times. Rizzo and LaStella combining on a couple of occasions.
Happ not running, and Contreras couldn't hold up. 0-2. Mentioned earlier the last time Lockett was in the big leagues. He flew from El Paso. Flight was delayed, rerouted to Vegas. They had bad weather in Phoenix. He ended up arriving in San Diego an hour after The Padres game had started that night, and he got in late, pitched a couple of innings. That was his last big league appearance before today. Here comes a 1-2 to the plate and an awkward swing and a miss for strike 3.
Lockett looking to have a bounce back inning. Elevates the fastball, gets his third punch out of the day.
Hendricks swings and misses. Cubs have 7 hits. The Padres have 0. They've only had 1 base runner. In the middle for strike 2.
With the wind blowing out, the bleachers, although you're completely exposed to the sun, but the bleachers might be the place to be. You can catching some breeze out there.
Kyle's got some BP sock in that bat. I see him hit home runs all the time in pitchers batting practice, although typically facing about 55 miles an hour from a coach.
Right over the heart of the plate, and you're taking swing after swing where you can kind of groove your swing. Cubs pitchers have not been very good this year. They're near the bottom of the league in pitchers batting average. 14th out of 15 when I checked yesterday. Just better than only the Giants.
Swing and a miss to end the inning. Cubs lead 1, lead the game 5-zip as we head to the 4th.
Cubs up 5-0 as we head to the fourth with this Miller Lite game report. Kyle Hendricks back out on the bump and looking very sharp so far this afternoon. A guy who struggled in the beginning of the season, and bumping into his dad the other day, he assured me, do not worry, he will figure it out. Kyle Hendricks, one of the most competitive guys in the clubhouse. For those that don't know, a very good golfer. He was an extremely good basketball player back in high school. Dad saying he wouldn't leave the court until he beat him in horse basically once a night. But the story I loved, guys, he was 7 years old, wanted to sign up for karate. And they told him he couldn't do it until he was 8 years old. So on the day of his birthday, his 8th birthday, in the morning, runs into his parents' rooms. Most kids, right, would just want to open their presents at that hour. No, Kyle wanted to sign up that day for karate, which Dad took him to do, and he is also a black belt to this day in karate. How about that?
He's one of those guys. He's good at everything. He played table tennis, air hockey. Doesn't matter. He goes out and shoots 73 on the golf course.
Karate.
Curveball outside on Jankowski.
Wonder if he can handle Kramer.
Seinfeld reference. Swing and a miss.
There's the curveball again.
1-1.
Yeah, there was talk in spring training of Kyle changing the grip on the curveball, so he clearly had been working on it, thinking about it. I'm wondering if he was never really comfortable with it, or just found some feel with it out of the bullpen prior to his last start. But as I mentioned, start of this ball game, he was almost 15% curveball against the Cardinals last time out. Way more than we ever see from Kyle, and he's using it effectively again here today. And it's not, sometimes guys just have a big loopy, sloppy curveball. He's got a decent curveball.
Had him out in front on the changeup. Hendricks, 28 years old, 6'3", 190. He's from Southern California. He went to Dartmouth College. Off the mound. A little bobble, and he throws it out of play. Jankowski would have been safe either way. That'll be their first hit. And an error on Hendricks, allowing Jankowski to go to second.
Yeah, I think if Kyle gets it cleanly here, he's going to get him. But a little mishandle, has to reset, a little double clutch. And at that point, probably should have just hung on to it. But so anxious as a pitcher to get that out. That's what happened with Cishek yesterday when he was trying to get a double play, and he threw wildly into center field. Had to reset, and by the time he did that, Jankowski clearly was going to be safe.
So leadoff man on in the second consecutive frame. So that's streak I had referenced earlier. Out into right center. This is going to split the gap and get the Padres on the board. And Margot will probably be told to go back to second, even though he's going to round the bases. Lodged in the ivy, and it'll be a double.
It's a break for the Cubs, because that would have been a 3-base hit for Margot.
That streak of retiring the leadoff hitter ended for Hendricks at 31 innings. After he hit Villanueva to start the third. This has been arguably the worst offense in baseball this season. But in this series, the Padres have had some impressive stretches of at-bats. And they came back late in the game yesterday and made it a nail-biter as the Cubs held on 5-4.
Well, you know how we like to play with numbers in this game. I was playing with some numbers earlier. League average batting average is 254 non-pitchers. League average on base non-pitchers is 329, and slugging is 417. So I lined up these two clubs side by side.
Are they equally above and below that number?
Well, what I did is, so yeah, I had 24 possible outcomes, 8 position players on each club in today's lineup. The Cubs are better than average, 21 out of 24 in terms of batting average on base and slugging. The Padres are better than slugging on 3 occasions, tied for league average and on base on 1 occasion, and below on every other.
Yeah, that says it all. Hosmer will move Margot to third, clearly trying to hit the ball to the right side. If you love baseball, you can't miss the best baseball show in town, Baseball Night in Chicago, presented by Chick-fil-A. Join Ozzie Guillen, Doug Glanville, and Layla Rahimi as they break down the biggest stories surrounding the Cubs and White Sox, Monday at 6:30 on NBC Sports Chicago. I believe that will lead us right into the Cubs and the Royals from Kansas City. Infield back with a 4-run lead. Renfroe got to 3-0 his first at bat. Hendricks got a call off the corner for a strike. He came back to strike him out eventually. And he's ahead 0-2 this time.
Yeah, he took a 3-1 fastball right over the heart of the plate and then was out in front of a really good changeup for the strikeout.
Renfroe has that back foot basically on the back line. Kyle has one of the slowest fastballs in terms of his average velocity in the game. Guys tend to not move around the batter's box much these days. Two to 3-2.
That's when he got the 3-0 last time to Renfroe, but just off the outside edge.
Schwarber makes a leaping catch. Here comes the throw to the plate. Good try, but Margot with good speed. And it ends up being a sac fly on the line out for Renfroe. A 5-2 ball game here in the fourth.
Good execution by the Padres. Hosmer gets him over. Renfroe gets him in on the 3-2 pitch. They were tempted to try to throw a fastball in on his hands there a little bit. Everything was pretty much out away from him throughout that sequence.
Hands over his head, and the pitch. Change up a little wide, 2-0. This is certainly not a day where you want to nibble too much. Lockett with 1 walk through 3. Kyle with no walks to this point. Because then if you give up a home run, it's 2 or 3 runs instead of just 1.
Yeah, I think you have to adopt the philosophy. If you're going to nibble, then you really got to commit to it. If you're going to work the edges, try to trick guys, get them to swing and misses on pitches out of the zone if they're willing to take their walks. And this is not a club that walks a bunch. As a matter of fact, they're last in the league in taking walks. Just don't give in with a couple of guys on. Just continue to stay on the edge. It's that now I got to challenge somebody mentality that sometimes gets you in trouble.
We'll see what he does here on 3-2 with nobody on and 2 down. Ooh, popped into left. Schwarber will watch it go.
Now that was a changeup. It was in the heart of the strike zone, but he didn't throw him the 3-2 fastball. He threw him a changeup, and it just stayed up a little bit. It just continues to punish Cubs pitching.
Second home run of the series. Yeah, that is not where Kyle wanted to throw it. A Ford home run replay. I'll tell you, even off the bat, it didn't kind of have that obvious home run vibe to it, but with the wind blowing out today, for sure.
He just got legit power. He had 18 home runs last year. So much for the easy day at the ballpark.
That's not good. Galvis strikes out. The Padres put up 3 and they're back in the game. Into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. Five-3 Cubs, 4th inning. 5 runs in the second. Russell knocked in one of those runs and then later scored. The Padres responded with 3 here in the top of the 4th.
So now if Lockett gets in trouble, I think Andy Green's going to be more inclined to get that bullpen going, because I think he's gone from a mindset of, I just need innings out of this guy to save our pen for tomorrow, to now we've got a winnable situation. I got to be able to respond if the Cubs get a little something going.
It's 3 straight strikeouts for Walker Lockett. So he tries to settle in. It's a strike. Rizzo turned away. Now asking C.B. Buckner, really?
A little late curl to that fastball, and CB deemed it top of the zone and on the corner.
Galvis backs up now at shortstop. Rizzo with a fly ball to center. Margot can't get it. He got a tough day in center. Rizzo to second base. And he just got in. Late slide. It's a double.
Second ball that Margot has kind of drifted after out there in center field. Again, not an easy play, but not the best of approaches either. Go middle away on Rizzo, you're really asking for trouble. This is right on top of home plate.
To Zobrist. It'll be a fun return to Kansas City for him. Big part of the Royals 2015 World Series championship team. 59 games in the regular season after being acquired from Oakland. And he pops it up shallow left. This could drop. Nope, it'll be caught by Jankowski, the left fielder.
Friday the 10th. Nationals first pitch 120 and up to the first 5,000 early, arriving adults age 21 and older. In the Budweiser bleachers, receive a Cubs t-shirt presented by Budweiser. For more information, visit Cubs.com/Fridays.
Hayward with 2 hits, including an RBI single in the second inning.
Nationals have won 3 in a row, but they're trailing 7-1.
Yeah, that's first of a makeup double header.
They got postponed last night, playing the Reds in Washington.
That was the 46th postponement in the major leagues this season. 7 more than last year's total. Kick and the 2-0 pitch. Bounce back to the pitcher, Lockett. For the final out, 5-3 Cubs as we head to the 5th. Chicago.com, presented by Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Go to jeffvuk.com or follow him on social media. Nationwide is on your side. Hendricks back to work. He gave up 3 in the 4th after not allowing a hit through the first 3 innings. Villanueva takes a strike.
He's one of those better than averages I was talking about earlier. His slugging percentage, 454. 20 bombs, hasn't hit for average. Get some consideration for Rookie of the Year. Continue to try to crowd him.
He just got hit again.
He'd be late reacting to that, but it was a combination of something he heard and Villanueva pressing his case, but he sent him to first base.
Apparently grazing the jersey. So third consecutive inning in which the Padres leadoff man has reached base safely. Curve at 72 on Spangenberg. Grounded into a 3-6 double play in the third. Lifted in the air to left. Schwarber back on the warning track, and he'll have room. Villanueva had gotten all the way to second, and he'll be able to retreat to first.
Next Saturday, the 11th, Cubs Nationals. First pitch on that day will be at 3:05, and up to the first 20,000 early arriving fans will receive a pack of Topps trading cards featuring Cubs players. For ticket availability, visit Cubs.com. High school slugger looking to get a bunt down here. Caught looking back in the third.
Lockett does get down a bunt here. He probably shouldn't stare at it and admire it, because the Cubs are going to try to turn to it.
And if Anthony leaves early, as he likes to do, Villanueva should get a more aggressive secondary lead.
And a stab at it. 0-2.
There's so much going on these bunt plays because the Cubs defend them so aggressively. Baez coming in from third. Anthony absolutely fearless coming in from first. And the other thing, obviously, that Villanueva has to consider if he gets too far off, Zobrist coming in behind him for a pickoff. Should Lockett bunt through the ball.
Hendricks is his team high 23rd start. Only twice in his first 22 as he failed to get through 5 innings. And that is strike 3 as Lockett missed it on the bunt attempt.
Kyle's second start against the Padres this year. Back on the 14th of July, he went 5 innings, allowed a couple of runs, and an 11-6 win.
Travis Jankowski takes ball 1 from Lancaster, PA, at Stony Brook University. Supplemental round pick in 2012, 44th overall, technically considered the first round.
First rounder in the history of that school. They've had too many guys drafted, but in recent years they've had a good baseball program. Set all kinds of records while he was there.
Good speed. Two and one. He's trying to hit that one onto Sheffield.
Eyes got big. He saw it up. Thought he had a 2-0 heater, but it was a let up. He was out in front.
Villanueva's at first, 2 outs. He led off the inning with a hit by pitch.
Jankowski's Stony Brook team played in the College World Series.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 on a fastball. Still 5-3 Cubs midway in the 5th.
On Sunday, the 12th, Cubs play the Nationals. The first pitch, as we mentioned, 7:05, and up to the first 5,000 early arriving children 13 and younger receive a Cubs lunch bag presented by MasterCard. Tickets still available for this one, and you can get yours at Cubs.com.
Some add-on runs wouldn't be a bad idea. 5-3 5th inning.
Especially on a day like today. Players instant offense. Leads the league in RBIs, 8th in home runs, 10th in batting average.
Bounding ball to Galvis.
Pulling off it a little bit here today, looks like.
So Javi 0-for-3. Schwarber will come up for his 3rd turn. Homer to lead off the 2nd inning. 405 feet, 107 off the bat. Good shot of Ben Zobrist after striking out in the first, having a long conversation with Kyle. One and one. Cubs have out-hit the Padres 8-3. They've out-homered them 2-1. And so far have outscored them 5-3. Rockets pitch, hooked to right and deep. Off the wall, Renfroe firing to second, and he's out at second on a bang-bang play. Renfroe has shown off his arm quite a bit this weekend, and that was a great throw.
Yeah, it really was. Kyle asking the Cubs to take a look. He thought he had avoided the tag. Freddie Galvis. Yeah, he's safe.
Very safe. The only thing is, did Galvis tag him again after he initially got to the bag? So there he's safe. And
no, he's good.
No, yeah, he never went back. So that will be a double.
Instructive, though. I mean, obviously, you have the scouting report, and the Cubs know that Renfroe's got a big arm, but Butterfield clearly filing that away for perhaps a later in the game decision about whether to send a man or not.
So Joe challenged it and will keep a challenge as well after it's overturned. Ian Happ.
That's one of the loudest overturn ovations I've ever heard.
I agree. In the replay era, ranks #1.
Statcast had it at 36 decibels.
I think a little louder than that. I'm going to go with 94.
I wouldn't know what a lot of decibels are or what a little.
36 would be,
so that would
be pretty low.
2009 decibels.
No, that's
too many.
Yeah, you need to. We're going to go in the mid to upper 90s. How's that?
98 decibels.
There you go. You're right on it.
.98 degrees. That was a band with Nick Lachey. He's a big Cincinnati Reds fan, you know.
Yeah. 2-1 to Happ. 2-2.
Rockets actually done a very nice job hanging in there after that second inning ambush. This is the second major league start. Could have predicted that he might crater after that, but he has not.
He got him, according to CB Buckner. So that's the second out. It'll be up to Contreras.
And strikeout number 6 for him, and again it's that two-seamer that works its way back, this time to the inside corner. It'll be up to Hendricks after the intentional pass to Contreras.
Two on, two down, fifth inning. It serves, and it's a strike.
Well, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier with Renfroe's arm and right. Hendricks not going to hit over his head out there in all likelihood, but if he dumps a line drive in front of him, Schwarber better have a good secondary lead and make a tight turn at third.
Bouncer toward right, cut off by Spangenberg, and he makes the play. So Hendricks nearly had a base hit, but the Cubs are held off the board in the fifth.
San Diego welcomes this 21-year-old phenom. Hits that one deep to left center field. A long run for Ankiel. That ball is off the wall. Bounces back, and on his way for three is the kid Rizzo, and he is in there. Oh, my.
Second major league at bat, first major league hit. Anthony Rizzo, 21 years old. Great call by the late Hall of Famer Dick Enberg. Third base coach that night was Glenn Hoffman, who's still with the Padres, Mark Grant, and Don Orsillo, the fine TV crew. How about this for NL West broadcast trivia? Ready?
I am.
Mudd made his big league debut as a pitcher with the San Francisco Giants in 1984. It was April 27th of that year. His battery mate was current Diamondbacks broadcaster Bob Brenly. When Grant came out of the game, Giants broadcaster Dwayne Kuiper pinch hit for him.
That's good trivia.
Well, Margot.
You heard Dick Enberg refer to Anthony as the phenom. And looking at his minor league numbers at AAA in 2011 at the age of 21, 332 batting average, 27 bombs, 103 batted in. He drove in 100 the year before. The Red Sox organization between A-ball and AA. Well, the Cubs in Iowa at AAA, 342, 696 slug, 23 home runs, and 284 plate appearances. That'll get you phenom status.
Yeah. I want to thank Chris Kampka for the Mark Grant note, and so if we could have worked Oral Hershiser and Ryan Spilborgh's in, we would have had the entire NL West covered. Russell gets Margot. So first time since the second. Hendricks has retired the leadoff hitter. Now Hosmer, who's grounded out twice. Who was your catcher when you made your debut?
I think it was Butch Weiniger. It was either Butch Weiniger or Rick Cerrone.
I'll look it up. It was against the White Sox, right?
White Sox in 1984.
Yeah, Butch Weiniger was your battery mate. Ground ball into right. Can you name anybody else on the field that night for the Yankees?
Mike Pagliarulo?
Mike Pagliarulo was the third baseman. He hit 8th.
Don Mattingly?
2 hits. Nope.
No. Ricky Henderson?
Nope.
Dave Winfield?
Yes. It was in right.
Who was playing shortstop? Was Andre Robertson playing
Bobby
short?
Meacham.
Bobby Meacham.
Willie Randolph was the second baseman. Ken Griffey Sr. played first. The outfield that night for the Yankees behind Jim DeShays. Steve Kemp in left. Omar Moreno in center.
Wow.
Winfield in right, and Don Baylor was the DH.
There's a lot of star power on that club.
Yeah.
Intimidating for a young, semi-young, soft tossing left-hander.
Renfroe, a sacrifice line out to left field in the 4th inning. Was down 0-2, worked it to full. Struck out his first time up.
Kind of wanted the curveball. It took Contreras a while to get there. Bad idea. Third time through. He's been heavy sinker changeup with Renfroe so far. This is a dangerous guy with a man on base in a 2-run game. He's strong enough where you can make a quality pitch and you can still hit it out of the ballpark on you.
I don't mean to open an old wound, but you remember the first homer you gave up?
Well, I know Harold Baines got me.
Yep. 5th inning.
Yeah.
2-run homer.
Pretty long one, if I recall. It was after we had a lengthy rain delay.
Harold hit 384 in his career, so not a bad guy to give one up to. That is fair. Hosmer to third. He'll be held by Glenn Hoffman. And all of a sudden the Padres have the tying runs in scoring position with only 1 out.
2 outs, he probably sends them, but Hoffman throws up the stop sign, and we talked about Renfroe's strength. He leans on this one, has to reach for it, but you know the weight's already gone out on that front side, but still hits it with authority into the left field corner. 2 outs. I think it's a certain send situation. 1 out, down a couple runs. Drop anchor.
Several men are back. Anything hit hard to Baez, you know he's likely to throw to the plate. The Padres know that after what happened yesterday. As Steve Cishek gets loose in the Cubs bullpen. 0-2 on Hedges, who homered in the 4th.
Caught a lot of home plate too. Contreras setting up over the outside corner, and that one worked its way back to the middle of the zone. Either pitch in this sequence so far is where Kyle wanted them to end up. Got away with that 0-0 heater, and watch this one back into the heart of the strike zone. To get a little break, take advantage. He's just having a hard time now. This puts Contreras in a little bit of a bind too, because Hendricks usually so good at executing his pitches, but you're just not sure what to ask for here because you don't know if he's going to hit the spot. Chased a high heater back in the 2nd. And most guys are going to focus middle down against Kyle. You might be able to throw a little neck high heater here and get him to chase. A little 2-strike anxiety with a couple guys in scoring position. Certainly worthy of a conversation. Punch out would be huge here.
Second of the series for Hedges, 8th on the season. Here's a pitch. Missed outside. Baez
Did you see Javi?
actually
Yeah.
gone into the dugout, and he was still walking back to his position when Hendricks delivered that pitch. A fly ball to right field. Hosmer ready to tag. And Hayward will throw it back toward the middle. It's a 1-run ball game on a sacrifice fly by Hedges. 5-4 here in the 6th.
And we talk about the trade-off you're willing to accept as a pitcher. Would you trade a run for an out in that situation? Once you get to 0-2, absolutely not. And I think it's got everybody in full alert in the Cubs dugout. Kyle's inability to locate there to Hedges. I think the reason why Joe Maddon's going to make the move.
So it will be a less than 6-inning start for Hendricks. Steve Cishek will replace him when we return.
Thursday. Get your country rock fix with Blackberry Smoke, followed by the mix of blues, funk, soul, and rock from J.J. Gray and Mofro. Tickets are only $30 and are available right now at GallagherWay.com/events.
Imagine what the monthly grooming bill is for Blackberry Smoke there on the right.
It's not cheap.
Biofreeze call to the pen. Official external pain relief of the Chicago Cubs. Steve Cishek to Freddie Galvis. Runner at third, 2 outs. Cubs scored the first 5. The Padres the last 4. 2-0 on Galvis.
Cishek worked in the ballgame yesterday, 2/3 of an inning. No hits, no runs through 12 pitches. He's proven to be very durable. And more importantly than that, very good.
He did throw a ball into center, allowing a run to score. It was charged to Carl Edwards Jr.
Yes, Cishek the pitcher was better than Cishek the fielder.
Yeah, that's a tough play. He was trying to turn 2 and didn't get any. 3-1. And it's Zobrist to field, and the Padres are held to 1 in the 6th, and it's a 1-run ball game. Earlier, another light hold, true moment. Kyle Schwarber giving the Cubs a 1-0 lead. They would score 4 more runs in the 2nd inning. Rizzo, a 2-run blast. It's now 5-4 as the Cubs bat in the bottom of the 6th, and it's southpaw Matt Strahm, 26 years old, 6'3", 185. Ball 1 to Russell.
Yeah, he's looked good when we've seen him. He's posted solid numbers with a 2.43 ERA, 23 games, 40 2/3. So oftentimes comes in for more than an inning of work.
The starter Lockett, 5 innings, 5 runs, 9 hits. With a very rough second. Did not give up a run after that inning.
Yeah, he did a nice job. He hung in there and easily could have gotten away from him, and it could have turned into one of those days where the Padres might have been featuring a position player on the mound, but he Stood tall and battled.
He cannot get his first big league win. He could take the loss. Hendricks leaving with a chance for his 8th win. And this game will be handled by the bullpens the rest of the way.
Looks like Manny Margot in center field has decided to play as deep as possible. He's had a couple balls fly over his head here today. So instead of drifting, he's just going to start back there. Just assume anything in the air is going to carry.
Strike 3 called. Russell.
Yeah. Well, we didn't look at it when you look at our pitch cast.
So.
It looked like it was okay, but catcher have to reach up like that.
It's been getting a lot of strike calls from CB today.
Yep, and that's good. Can't have it both ways. We talk about pace of play. We want umpires to hunt strikes. CB Buckner was a center fielder in college, State University of New York at Cortland. The Red Dragons.
Strong's pitch. A bit outside, 2-0.
Russell had the platoon advantage, but now it's left, switch left, so things tilt towards Strom now. Especially trying to neutralize Riz, who's homered and doubled already today. Former starting pitcher, he's got all 4: fastball, curve, slider, and a change.
Fastball that time.
A little whippy arm action. Good riding action on that fastball. A little bit of a low 3/4 delivery. Starts a la Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, Rod Beck almost. And not swinging his arm. Swing and a miss. So he comes all the way back. And beats Rizzo. Tuesday at 7, come out and enjoy great baseball as NBC Sports Chicago hosts a Miller Lite viewing party at Rocket Bar and Grill in River North. Join Kelly Kroll, watch Chicago take on Kansas City, and enjoy free giveaways. I don't know why I feel like I have to say it in that voice, but
it's good. A little John Facenda working. A little Harry the K.
It will not be a frozen tundra in Kansas City. I'm expecting some pretty hot temperatures there at Kauffman Stadium this week as well. Give it to the kid in the red glove. And a strike on Zobrist. Right-handed, and he fouls to the top of the screen and just about got hit on the carom. Our buddy Joel Murray, actor and comedian, will join us in the 7th and sing the stretch.
So 1 out of 3 today, hitting close to 500 since the All-Star break. Beyond the 2/3 point in the major league season. We're getting down to the point in the year where you start discounting the marathon and talking about the sprint.
Knocked down by Strom. He got a glove on it, and he just robbed Zobrist of a hit. And that will take us into the 7th inning. It's the Cubs 5 and the Padres 4.
Welcome back. Lovely day here in Chicago. The Cubs have teamed up with a number of organizations to help raise money and awareness. On select nights in August and September, fans can lend support by purchasing tickets through the Community Nights page, as a portion of proceeds will be donated to each cause. More information is available. Please check it out, Cubs.com/Community Nights.
Underway in the 7th inning. 5-4 Cubs lead. Joe Murray is with us. He and his brother Andy will sing the stretch.
Wow.
Hi,
Nice
Joel.
seats you guys have.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun seeing you guys in San Francisco, but the usher there would not let me get close to you.
She was
you had
sticking to
seats
protocol.
Yeah.
right in front of us at AT&T Park. We saw you in St. Louis earlier this year.
Well,
Touring with Whose Line Is It Anyway? So it's nice when the travel schedules align.
well, the most beautiful ever was when I got to do a show called Shrink here during October of '16. I got to be here for the whole month. I didn't really even have to explain to the wife why I wasn't coming back. But, no, honey, I'm actually making money. It's good. It's good. Hey, that's a good pitch.
Villanueva strikes out. Yeah, October and early November of '16 were a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Joe Madden's tournament, besides my own tournament that's on Monday, is coming up, and he was interested to know if you guys wanted to play.
Yeah, it's later this month, right?
It's the
I've
13th,
circled it on my
think.
calendar, yeah.
Well, that's the first step.
Yeah.
That's
The
like
awareness of
that's
when
like
it's
me
happening.
in sobriety. I've circled it on my calendar. Haven't quite gotten there yet.
Your tournament is Monday.
It's on Monday at the Canal Shores that runs up and back and forth from the Baha'i Temple in Northwestern. It's a great little track that we grew up playing. It used to be kind of bad, but it's the Ricketts have actually thrown some money into it, and it's a fabulous time. We bring first responders out from all over the country, 9/11 guys, and people from Rizzo's high school are coming this year. We're
Great.
Unfortunately, we keep bringing more catastrophes that we can invite people from, but we show them a good time for 3 days, and they all come away just loving Chicago, and I guess that's what we're up to.
Well, I know Theo appreciates you being part of Hot Stove Cool Music as well.
It's a good one this year, huh?
A lot of money as Spangenberg strikes out, and Cishek mowing him down as Carlos Asuaje will come off the bench 0 for his last 28. Your brother Andy's going to sing with you today, and in terms of the Murray plan. You're the youngest, right?
I'm 9. I'm wearing the Baez
Where
jersey.
does Andy fit in?
Andy's 7.
7 of 9.
Bill is 5, the troubled middle child, and my brother Ed is behind you. He's number 1. He's the alpha.
Hi, Ed. I didn't know Ed was here. Good to see you. Yeah.
If there's a Murray brother golf outing, who wins all the money?
That's why we play.
Passes around?
That's why we play. One guy brings all the money, and the rest of us hope to win it. But Ed was always the best golfer growing up. He was a caddy master and a scratch golfer, and maybe the guy Caddyshack was written about, maybe not. And Bill has had millions of dollars in lessons, so he's done very well with his golf game. And the rest of us, compete. And we don't give any strokes because genetically we all have the same makeup. And why should you get a stroke? Right?
2 and 1.
So your philosophy is just get better. If I can't beat you, I just need to get better.
Enjoy the day and heckle. Hey.
Bounced foul.
How's your game?
Pretty non-existent.
Well, you got to do more than circle it. You got to get out there.
JD gets out there and plays though.
Played twice since the end of spring training. Once here, once in Cincinnati.
Well,
usually I play and then I'm on the couch for 4 days because my back is barking.
Oh, strange. It makes my back actually feel better. My back's sore. I'll go hit a bucket of balls and it feels better. So I apparently have horrible posture or something, but it's working the wrong way for me, or the right way.
3 and 2 on the pinch hitter. Cubs lead by a run here in the 7th.
Oh yeah,
they got him.
Nice.
7th inning stretch brought to you by St. Xavier University. The Murray brothers.
Today's guest
coming up.
conductors for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Ed, Andy, and Joe Murray.
All right, let me hear you. I got a couple brothers with me. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Oh, it's root for the Cubs. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the home.
Let's get some runs!
And his most impressive, hit the first batter he faced and punched out 3 in a row. This is his 17th appearance overall. 220 earned run average.
Steve Cishek striking out the side in the 7th.
Jason expressing his frustration with CB Buckner's strike zone. That one appeared to be down and away.
See, if we were in San Diego, right? We could have said Cishek strikes out the side by the seashore.
Yeah.
While the broadcasters talk about Caddyshack.
Sure.
Oh, 0-2 to Hayward. Newly acquired Brandon Kinsler up in the Cubs bullpen. Padres able to get to the Cubs pen in each of the first 2 games of the series.
Not sure who's available for the Cubs today. Edwards worked yesterday an inning plus, threw 16 pitches, but he did go out there for that second inning. Stroked through 26 high stress pitches in his outing.
Shallow center with Margot playing a little extra deep. With the wind blowing out, that'll drop in easily for a base hit. His 3rd of the day.
A little floater into shallow center.
So what did you notice the last time Baez was up? Just a little jumpy or coming out of his swing?
I just thought he pulled off the ball a little bit. He had a pretty good pitch to hit. Up to the front side, just pulled off a little bit.
That can happen on days like this when the wind is blowing out. I start thinking about possibly hitting home runs as that one is drilled out in the center, and Hayward will stop at second, so the Cubs have 2 on with nobody out.
Yes, a very nice development here in the bottom half of the 7th. As we mentioned, we're not sure exactly how many weapons Joe Madden has at his disposal in the bullpen today, so add-on runs would be nice. He went down and got a good pitch. Slider down below the knees. This time nothing about pulling off the ball, just down and through. Big part of the yard approach.
David Bodie hits for Schwarber against the left-hander Castillo.
Has proven to be a quick study at the big league level in all phases of the game. He's really good heads up player. It's consistent, solid contact.
Impressed his manager, and that goes back to a great spring training. Two and one. Hayward and Baez singling. We'll start this 7th. And the pitch on the way. It's a strike. 2-2. Castillo set at the belt. Here it comes, and Bodie got hit to load the bases. with nobody out. And it will be Albert Almora Jr. for Ian Happ. So interesting here. Schwarber and Happ taken out for pinch hitters. Bodie and now Almora.
I think with Schwarber leaving the game, Almora probably going to come in for defense anyway, so that we'll take the at-bat of Almora versus the lefty as opposed to Happ from his weaker side.
And the Padres now bring in their infield. As their outs offensively are dwindling. They're going to try to cut off that run at the plate as Albert takes a strike.
Rough go for Albert of late. And still sitting at 300.
Popped up. Infield fly rule in effect. As Spangenberg made the catch and Hayward acted like he might consider tagging. That's a big first out for Castillo.
Has to be really building for Albert. Squaring the ball up, not driving the ball. It's been a lot of weak contact for a while now.
So it will be Contreras. The Padres will probably play their middle guys back a few steps for a shot at 2 if they get a sharply hit ground ball. This would be a big missed opportunity if the Cubs can't add on here. Bases loaded, 1 out. Victor Caratini has a bat on deck. The hit for Cishek. Phil Maton, a right-hander up in the San Diego pen. It's Doug Bockler, the bullpen coach, in the background.
First Strom, now Castillo. All the remaining options for the Padres are right-handed.
Have led since a 5-run second inning. The Padres chipped away 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th. Now 1 and 2.
Two-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. He has good touch with that slider. That one, little back door, was good depth. Average fastball velocity of 95.
Threw that one a bit at 97. It's 2 and 2.
Looking for 107 there. His goal was to change the eye level. Mission accomplished.
Swing and a miss. Stayed up there and gets Contreras, and it will be up to Caratini now at 2 down.
Pretty attractive compared to the previous one, and he gets the big punch out, and now a lot of pressure falls to Caratini.
Third pinch hitter of this inning. The Cubs have a 4-man bench, so Tommy La Stella is the only position player Not used. Swinging strike.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to a shortage in the bullpen, because this is normally how you would manage a game if you're trying to come from behind. You know, pull out all the stops, whatever it takes. The one-run lead on a day like today with the wind blowing out, if you don't have all your weapons available in the bullpen, you're more likely to empty the bench to try to take advantage of a situation like this.
The 0-1 is a strike. It's 0-2. Battle time for Caratini. Back-to-back singles and a hit batter setting things up here in the 7th. Almora popped out. Contreras struck out. And Caratini now trying to do something with 2 strikes. Castillo coming home. It's outside and high.
It would be hard if you're Caratini not to go up there with the weight of what had transpired before you got up there on your shoulders, right? Bases loaded, nobody out. Things are looking rosy. Pop up, punch out, and all of a sudden all of that is on you to get those guys off the hook. Mental skills coach would tell you, you can't think that way, man. You just got to go up there and do your job.
The 3rd, fair, and inning over. Villanueva forcing the runner Baez, and the Cubs cannot score.
Left-hander Joey Lucchesi, who was scheduled to start today, but is feeling under the weather. And he'll be opposed by Big John Lester, who will trot out there with a 12-4 record.
Zobrist moves from second to left. Almora stays in place center. Baez third to second. Bodie at third. Right-hander Brandon Kintzler now pitching.
And Steve Cishek preceded him and was outstanding. Faced 4, retired all 4 of them, and struck out the side in the 7th. Kintzler has worked 47 times, and he's pitched to a .345 earned run average. Heavy dose of sinking fastballs typically from Kintzler. Jankowski has speed. You have to respect the potential bunt.
Brandon got an out yesterday, a line shot to third off the bat of Christian Villanueva to get out of the 8th inning. Top 3 in the Padres order: Jankowski, Margot, and Hosmer. 2-0. Brandon turned 34 3 days ago, and he made his Cubs debut in Pittsburgh. A 3-0 start. This game all of a sudden doesn't feel that comfortable, does it? Cubs were up 5-0 at one point, and then in the last half inning, leading by a run, they had the bases loaded, nobody out, could not convert. 3-1.
We talked about the pressure on Caratini taking that final at bat in that inning. Now the pressure shifts to the Cubs bullpen, and it's a one-run ball game. Not sure if Edwards is a go today. I'm guessing Strop is not.
I would guess Edwards is down as well. "3-2 on the way, and a high fly ball out in the center. Almora will make the grab.
Fallout Boy is coming home to play Wrigley Field Saturday, September 8th, with special guests Rise Against and Machine Gun Kelly. Don't miss out on the final concert of the season at Wrigley Field. Tickets on sale now, Cubs.com/concerts.
Go an RBI double and a run in the 4th. Knocked down by Kinsler. Might have been ticketed for center field. 2 outs. Be ready to field your position. He was in a good spot.
So if you're a sinker baller and you get a lot of balls on the ground.
Odds of a ground ball in this sequence.
Yeah, pretty high. Hosmer's hit it on the ground 3 times today. His ground ball rate up over 60%. Third one went through into right field for a base hit. Looking at Strop's game log, a couple days off prior to working yesterday, so he might be good to go. He only threw 8 pitches on the 29th. And then 26 yesterday.
Stammen on the left. Natan on the right. There's the ground ball. Bodie surrounds it. Sets. Plays. Got him.
Play the game, kids.
Kinsler
Play the game.
using his defense. And Cishek and Kinsler have retired all 7 they faced. home run time. Schwarber with his 20th. Rizzo, number 17. Rizzo now in sole possession of 11th on the Cubs list with 182. He just passed Alfonso Soriano. Nice work by the bullpen so far. Cishek and Kinsler. Phil Maton with a strike to Russell. Bottom of the 8th, Cubs 5, Padres 4.
Castillo worked into and out of trouble. Padres bullpen has been effective today, and that's been a real strength of their club all year. Maton leans heavily on that slider. He'll throw it 40% of the time.
Swinging bunt. Picked up by Maton. Out at first is Russell. Coming up on Monday, Cole Hamels looks to get another solid start for the Cubs as they open up the series in Kansas City against the Royals. Coverage begins at 7 on NBC Sports Chicago Plus. You can stream the game live on the NBC Sports app. Extra special. We're on Plus. Means you've got to be a little better, JD.
Yeah, you got a little better.
Give them something extra.
Bring our C game for sure that night.
Ball 1 to Rizzo. Strop is getting loose. And Morrow on the disabled list.
Good pass at 91, a little bit behind it. Maton has done a nice job keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's allowed just 1 in 30 innings of work.
Popped up in the left, and it's Jankowski. And second out. If Zobrist can get something started.
Padres doing their best to boost the local economy. They've been here since Tuesday. They'll be here until hopping on buses and heading to Milwaukee Monday night.
I'm guessing a good bit of their per diem has been utilized already.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of families are on this trip, so I'm sure they've been dipping into the many restaurants and retail establishments. A few of them walking around with those American Girl bags. Look out.
A couple of guys from downstate battling here, Maton and Zobrist.
Where'd you say Maton's from? Chatham?
Yeah, near Springfield.
Okay.
Ben from Eureka. Two balls and a strike.
1 out of 4 today for Ben. A double in the second. Hit it sharply back to the mound last time.
Padres will have Renfroe, Hedges, and Galvesdew in the ninth. It looks like it will be against Pedro Strop. Outside corner, strike 3. So we go to the ninth. It's 5-4 Cubs. Is presented by Benny's Beverage Depot. Jason Hayward gets the honors today with his 3 hits, including an RBI back in the second inning. Benny's Beverage Depot is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs.
10th time this year Jason has had 3 hits in a ball game.
Pedro Strop looking for a save in back-to-back games. It was a bit dramatic yesterday.
It was indeed.
He gave up 2 runs. Cubs had a 3-run lead at the time. Only 1-run lead today.
A couple dangerous hitters to get things started here. Renfroe and Hedges.
Hit it right to Baez on the ground, and that's the first out. Hedges has struck out, homered, and hit a sac fly to right. He has knocked in 5 runs in the series.
Raised 4 runs on just 5 hits. Tail of the crooked number, the big inning. Cubs with a 5 spot in the bottom of the second. Padres throw 3 in the 4th and then 1 more in the 6th. CB Buckner today has had a generous but not egregiously big strike zone. The pitchers have taken advantage. Cubs pitching has not issued a single walk today. Padres have walked 2. 10 strikeouts aside. guessing some hitters would quibble with my assessment of CB's work.
Later this evening, in a couple of hours, Gomber and Nova in Pittsburgh, Anderson and Peralta in Milwaukee. Trying to make this as drama-free as possible. And it will be Freddie Galvis.
Temptation for a pitcher in this situation. Let the adrenaline get the best of him and start to overthrow. That's one of the challenges with high leverage situations. Stay with the game plan, stay within yourself.
Most teams have eye-popping records when they enter the ninth with a lead, and the Cubs are 54-2. That's instructive. Cubs are 4-37, and they're trailing into the ninth. 2-2 on Galvis.
Yeah, I'm guessing the 27 Yankees didn't win many games trailing entering the ninth. It's just the nature of it.
Ninth inning, and man, was the bullpen great here today. 5-4 the final score.
Yeah, we talked earlier, we weren't sure if Pedro was available today. Indeed he was, and not only was he available, he was outstanding following Kinsler and Cishek in support of Kyle Hendricks. Just shut down work by the bullpen here this afternoon. One big inning and then hang on for dear life.
The Padres went 1 for 3 with men in scoring position, so they hit .333. The Cubs hit under 200, but they had 11 chances. They went 2 for 11, so that number can sometimes be a little bit off. The Cubs certainly had more traffic, and that 5-run second was ultimately all they would need.
Yeah, you know, just when they had the bases loaded in the 7th and failed to score, you thought, uh-oh, this could come back to bite them. But the bullpen picked up the pieces, and nobody has to wear the goat horns from that 7th inning.
So the Cubs with their 64th win, 18 over 500. They will be in sole possession of first going into play tomorrow, no matter what happens tonight. Kelly is on the field for our On the Diamond interview, presented by James & Sons Fine Jewelers.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, Jason, a big second inning there for you guys, but what was it that maybe you, Rizzo, and Zobrist saw in the first inning and were able to talk about, and then you guys were able to really come out on the attack and ambush Lockett there?
I mean, I feel like we just try to be aggressive in the strike zone, and I feel like today, you know, he made some good pitches in the first inning, and in the second inning there, he kind of fell behind, and we didn't give him a chance to settle in, and we were able to get some pitches up in the zone and get some base hits.
Well, obviously you saw this Padres team chip away inning after inning. How big did the bullpen play once again this afternoon?
Our bullpen's always huge. They always come up big. Our starters, man, they got to grind, and we understand that it's not going to happen every time. We try and get them some runs, and honestly, it's nice to get them some runs early, you know, and give them some wiggle room there. But our bullpen's been outstanding, and we try and play great defense behind them late in the game.
Well, Jason, I know you'll tell me every win matters, but when you see how tight this race is in the Central, how important has it become for this team to take care of business against teams that are maybe below 500 like this one over there?
We got to take care of business regardless. But the difference is, Kelly, is like we don't see these teams all the time, so there's a little in-betweenness on our end. And the teams we play in our division, obviously they're good and they're better competitors, but we're just more familiar. So we just try and pay a little bit more attention to detail on the teams we don't know. and go from there.
All right, Jason, thanks a lot. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
There you go, guys. Jason Hayward, big afternoon.
Kelly, thanks. And Jason will get a $500 gift card from James and Sons Fine Jewelers. And for JD, for Kelly, and our entire NBC Sports Chicago crew here at Wrigley Field, Len Casper with your final score. Cubs 5, Padres 4. We're on the Plus channel, 7 o'clock Central, Monday night, Cubs and Royals in interleague play. Coming up next, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Post-game live. Stay tuned.